feels so good to be back on land with some of the best teams in the world on that stage. We've got Sentinels up against Rebellion, and this one's going to be tasty.
Definitely a tasty one. Really difficult to try and call kind of which team is going to take advantage here. You heard what the desk was talking about. Such amazing players on both sides, and they know each other very well because of the qualifiers.
Yeah, I think they spoke about, players to watch who are going to be the difference maker. That we've seen Suppressed, we've seen Spartan, but there is a lot of talent on that stage.
It's almost too much talent to be on one stage, and we've got to settle it. We can only have 4 players walk away from this series as the victors. And if I'm kind of a guy who has to try and lean one way or the other, you've got to go with the higher seed. You have to go with Sentinels. But Rebellion, they have been a bogey team to the Sentinels roster throughout those qualifiers. They've matched up in about 4 series against one another. And Rebellion, they've done so well time and time again, particularly in Slayers.
Well, you speak about series and how important they are, but series layout equally so, and we had a look at them a little bit earlier on, and this one, sort of, it's a mixed bag for both teams, but Rebellion can be quietly confident here.
Yeah, I think when I saw the series layout, I was starting to lean towards Rebellion because they have an objective game they're very good at. But on the other side for Sentinels, they haven't lost CTF Empyrean against Rebellion. They haven't lost Strongholds against Rebellion, so they've already got 2 objectives on their side. The big one, though, is going to be that Game 5 Slayer Solitude. If we get that, without a shadow of a doubt, it is Sentinels' best game type and best map. So we'll have to see whether Rebellion can get that far first and foremost.
It sounds to me like you're talking about Slayer Aquarius being a very pivotal game in this series, and one that has to go the way of Rebellion.
It has to, and they are kind of bettering Sentinels when it does come to those Slayer modes throughout the qualifiers in particular, but we are going to be starting off with CTF Empyrean. Now, Sentinels, they have beaten Shopify already in the qualifiers. They know how they play it, and we've seen what Sentinels could do on this map. You give Spartan that sniper rifle and you give him free Roman sword, he is going to destroy your entire team. So if you are Rebellion, you need a counteract to that. Maybe that could be Mental, maybe that could be Cykul. Just have someone with their sights set on Spartan.
Now, when we talk about Sentinels, the desk touched upon it, this is a team that stayed together through the offseason. With Rebellion, this team formed very quickly when they heard the bandit changes. So many players that can hit their shots, that can win their 1v1s, and that's going to be very important against Sentinels here.
Yeah, I think the fact that they did form so fast, it was very clear that they knew they wanted to be teaming with these players, and there's been team changes here or there where they featured on certain rosters with one another, so it's not like it's a brand spanking new team and they're going to struggle with chemistry. The chemistry is going to be there for Rebellion, and Sentinels need to be concerned about that. This is not an easy start for Sentinels where they can just breeze through pool play. They are going up against their hardest matchup in this pool to kick us off here.
And I want to talk about the player on the side of Rebellion, SoulSnipe. Left his long-time teammates on Native Red, has now branched out to play on his own, play with Cykul, Mental and Suppressed, and how big a player he could be for this team.
Sometimes you do just have to move on to try and get past that kind of plateau that you've been in for so long. How long was he at, a top 4 player, but couldn't quite break into that top 3? This is now your opportunity with a brand spanking new roster to try and prove what you're made of. And if Rebellion can take down Sentinels here in this series, suddenly we are looking at them as a top 3 team, right? Sentinels are the 3rd seed coming into this. They are expected to be getting to that top 3. So this is almost a chance to slay that giant if you're Rebellion. And they have what it takes. We've seen it in the qualifiers. Yes, it's online, but it gives us a slight indication of what they're capable of.
SoulSnipe really hoping to be the Justin Timberlake to the NSYNC situation. He breaks off and he goes on to have a flourishing career. But on the other side of things, we're looking at LethuL on our screens, Dan. He has been so experienced, so good all last season, and he'll be looking to have an even better season this year.
And what's interesting, I mean, a lot of LethuL's career, certainly throughout Halo Infinite, he was the objective guy. He was the dirty player. He was the one who was just going to get things done, but wasn't statistically incredible. He's actually been stepping up. He has been the guy for Sentinels so much, so often. He can put up that damage. He can put up those numbers, and he is the big name player that we knew he was capable of being in this game.
Sentinels come into this looking to right some wrongs in the past, looking to solidify themselves not only as that top 4 seed, not only to push themselves even further, they want to be in the championship conversation, and Rebellion want to spoil the party. CTF Empyrean is going to be game number 1. I can't wait to jump into it.
Can't wait to jump into it, and I'm sure that Sentinel's going to be aggressive off the rip like they always are.
Shields up, weapons hot, We're rocking and rolling here.
Sentinels do like to use Spartan as just kind of a watcher, an overseer at the start of these games. He'll grab sniper rifle, try and get some indication of where the other team's going to be, scout them out, and then provide that information to the rest of the team. But he has already lost all 3 of his members, so these shots are crucial just to try and keep Rebellion back a little bit here.
Mental has Snipe on the other side. He picked up 2. Rockets and overshield for Cykul. Recognizing he has to slow things down, hoping to hold the halfway line here. Really apply pressure to Sentinels. We're on the back foot. Falcated is going to be the opening pick, and that means Rebellion have an opportunity to push forward.
Yeah, once he gets his shields back here, he should be joining the rest of the team because they've got that pick, but great damage from LethuL from Snipe's side. He had his eyes trained on top Banana. He knew Cykul was going to be staying there, and Rebellion, they're not getting too aggressive yet. They don't want to throw themselves at Sentinels, find themselves going 2 or 3 down, and then losing the map control that they gained right at the start of this one.
They have given up a little bit of map control. Cykul will disappear over towards Sword. Mental in there too, which means both fresh spawners are going to be a little bit isolated and alone. 2 kills go in the favor of Sentinels. So that opening start that Rebellion had, overshield, rockets, sniper rifle picks, and it's their flag who's the first one on the move.
It all gets overshadowed, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's bubu dubu who's picking up the flag as well. He has been the flag guy for Sentinels as Spartan doesn't quite send Mental off the map, but he does get the kill. All the meanwhile, there is bubu dubu, and yet again, he is the man who has the plan, and he gets the flag into the base, and Sentinels take the lead.
You talk about efficiency, both these teams have 10 kills, but it is Sentinels who take the lead. Absolutely clinical when they have the advantages to press home and get the lead.
Throughout qualifiers, bubu had over double the flag grabs of anyone on his team. As such a player who is always been known for his aggression, I'm not surprised, getting behind enemy lines, pulling that flag when necessary, but he needs the support around it, and it was all from that sword control that Sentinels regained off of Rebellion, and as soon as they had that, the spawners had no chance for Rebellion. They had to let it go.
Rebellion on the back foot once more. Spartan is taking control of the opposition training. Happy to stay alive for now, get his shields back after getting an initial bit of damage. LethuL's going to drop down runway, but straight into 2 guns. Mental soaring forward. Kills have gone their way. We're hearing some rockets explode in the background as well. Overshield will evade 1 rocket. Will get shut down. 3 down for Rebellion. Flag gets returned. The map will split for now, but Mental's got hands on flag. Perhaps little more than a distraction.
Yeah, LethuL did get a nade towards it, which should just delay the flag from being pulled, but a big kill from SoulSnipe, followed up by Mental. There is a chance here for Rebellion for a flag pull. Try and get that down long haul. If he can get it there was maybe an opportunity. But bubu dubu from top tower is doing some real work here for Sentinels just to keep that flag from moving.
bubu soars forward. Off the top tower. Flag will get sent home.
Return.
They will still hold out. Slender lead. Mental's got Snipe. He's been de-scoped and pressured. Spartan on the other side. We're going to have a little bit of an old-fashioned snipe off. Like the Roy Borgen snipe down of old. This time, it's going to be Spartan and Cykul. Or Mental, excuse me. This one slowed down. Both teams recognizing that damage on this map can be pivotal.
This is perfect for Sentinels. They're more than happy for it to slow down when they have a cap advantage. And it's similar to what we saw during qualifiers, that Rebellion could get the slays, they could get the map control, but when it came to the actual flag runs, they just weren't able to kind of get it down long haul. They weren't able to really give themselves a chance. But Mental now just keeping Sentinels back, trying to regain a little bit of map control with these body shots, but they have to start pressing their advantage at some point. 7 minutes 45 left on the clock, so it's not too much of a rush right now, but Mental needs help from the rest of the team. They need to be saying to him, look, they're trying to take sword now, give us a body shot so that we can get aggressive on it and regain it for ourselves.
Rebellion have 3 players positioned over towards tower here. bubu is trying to get some information, will receive a body shot. Mental will send them back home. Another body shot, double kill. Sniper goes down, more ammunition for Mental to put into the magazine as they now finally start to venture forward, but they've been pinned back for so long, and much of it their own doing.
Mental 11 kills at the moment, finally gets control of sword, and this is their chance to try and take control of the map. All you need is 1 headshot here, and it will allow Rebellion to push up. But with bubu dubu holding that assault rifle, it's not going to be as easy. You heard the overshield getting popped as well. It's going to be SoulSnipe grabbing that one. And now Rebellion should try and press forward.
Looks as though bubu dubu is behind enemy lines.
Again, that's all he does. That's what bubu is known for. They have to take him out first. You can't just let him sit there for too long. But Rebellion, they see that Sentinels are using this distraction to their advantage.
bubu continues to be a nuisance. And 3 go down for Rebellion. They didn't take care of Trouble. Now Trouble's coming back to bite them in the backside. bubu dubu soars forward with the flag. Is finally cut down by SoulSnipe. But LethuL's got hands on, he's already pushing it forward. Rebellion in real trouble of going down by 2.
And that's one of the things statistically, even though LethuL's not usually the guy to grab the flag, he is often the guy to put the flag back home, as now Sentinels 2-0 up here. 6 minutes remain, and Rebellion don't look like they have what it takes to score a flag at the moment, and Sentinels can play even more defensive if they would like to at this point.
Completely in control now. Game number 1. Mental with Bulldog in hand, sitting under bridge. Tries to lock in Falcated, will manage to do so. They've had kills, they've had map control, but they've just been a little bit too slow.
And I think the Rebellion would have come into this series layout and they would have seen that it was going to be CTF Imperium to kick things off, and they know it's not one of their best game types. I'm fairly certain they didn't even win it once throughout the 4 qualifiers leading up to this event. And again, it just comes down to that objective efficiency for me. You can see slaying-wise, they have the power, but even the Bulldog not taking down LethuL there. Great work just on top tower to try and stay alive and use the support of his teammates.
Spartan with Snipe. Looking to provide some cover fire for bubu dubu, but unfortunately, none of the members of Rebellion are going to expose themselves to the long scope. Eventually, body shot connects, LethuL on hand to apply the finishing touches to that kill. They've got control of Rebellion's courtyard here.
Good time to get control as well. Overshield, rockets coming up. If Sentinels can grab this one, it might be all she wrote for Rebellion. Could argue this is Rebellion's last chance to get back into this game, but they are pinned at the moment into the Mauler. And they are going to be collapsed on. Good nades though, good defensive nades coming out of Rebellion. They do take down 3 members of Sentinels, but all the meanwhile, it has allowed rockets to go into the Sentinels' hands. Rebellion though, SoulSnipe, overshield to work with, and it has to begin now if they want to come back. 4 minutes 20, seems like a good amount of time, but when you are 2 flags down and you've yet to really get the flag moving, has to happen soon.
Rebellion and Sentinels splitting the power on the map then. SoulSnipe's in trouble. SoulSnipe is no more. They've cleared him out of the base. That's happened time and time again. Anytime they've really threatened to get something going, Sentinels so good at getting back and clearing players out of their base.
Yeah, that's the big difference. When you saw bubu dubu get in behind enemy lines, he wasn't cleared up, he wasn't focused quick enough, and then Sentinels used that distraction to push up, push through green, and then work with bubu dubu. However, when Rebellion have got a player behind, they've been on their own, and they have been targeted by Sentinels. And now with 3 minutes 37 left on the clock, it's looking more and more likely that this is going to be a Sentinels opener. By the way, 20 kills now for Falcated. We haven't mentioned him yet. We haven't mentioned what an incredible player he has been throughout Halo Infinite's lifespan. And he could be one of those key factors for Sentinels going forward for the rest of this tournament.
Rebellion playing against 4 very talented players, and now very quickly playing against the clock. They have got to get a boogie on, or they'll find themselves down by 1 in this series. We spoke about how important the Slayers was going to be, and we can see that already.
Well, that has been Sentinels' downfall throughout the qualifiers, is they have struggled a little bit in Slayers. That's the only reason why I'm kind of focusing on that game 2 and 5. But with the amount of control we've seen in this game, it's a good indication that we know LAN's going to be different to online. I mean, LethuL doesn't have to take a monitor to an office all the way down the road. Instead, he can just play with the rest of the team right next to them. And that's going to be a huge difference maker compared to the online tournaments. But with 2 minutes 30 now, Sentinels, they can kind of play this one however they want. If they want to play a little bit defensive, they want to sit back with the sniper rifle, they can do so. It's Rebellion who have to do something, as this is why you give Spartan the sniper rifle.
I'm just really wondering whether LethuL's co-workers in the office miss him. Has he given them a sick note?
So, where's LethuL today? Where's that guy with the monitor? Why hasn't he turned up?
SoulSnipe looking to turn up here. Currently sitting at 11, 8, and 18. Nobody on the side of Rebellion really able to put together much in terms of the slays. The Sentinels have had much of the control of this game, number one.
Yeah, I mean, Sentinels outslaying them 62 to 46. At the moment, it isn't close, and it allows them to play in this way. LethuL has the overshield as well. And Rebellion, and this is the part of the game where you start to get to the acceptance of, okay, we're losing it, let's start to think about map number 2. You can see SoulSnipe again is the one who's desperately trying to get into that flag. He's actively trying to pull it, but every single time he's already lost a teammate. They haven't been able to all push up at the same time. It's almost just been one by one, like lemmings, they've been taken out.
Suppressed. We hate to harp on, but we spoke about how he could be the difference maker. Currently sitting at 7, 6, and 21, having a game to forget. A couple of kills do go in the favor of Rebellion, though. Perhaps an opportunity to get one flag on the board, even if it's just a consolation.
In defense of Suppressed, he has been the first one to try and get as close as possible to the likes of SoulSnipe when Soul has been getting aggressive, but he's just got there that second too late. SoulSnipe's already dead, and then he was finding himself in a 1v2. Flag is on the move, 45 seconds left, so this is Rebellion's real last stand here as the flag has gone down. Longhorn, Sentinels, they are on the back foot a little bit, but is this just too late now as Suppressed finally gets the kill, and that's going to be 3 dead.
It's a 1v1 on the map for now, but the flag already well and truly given up on.
Well, here we go, 27 seconds, what have you got left? One last push, one last hurrah.
LethuL heading towards sword then. Dubu throws down a denial grenade. He's taking a little bit of damage, down to 1 shot now. Falcated situated top tower. There is an opportunity in the gap over towards long haul if Rebellion can send numbers down that way, but they have really got to get close to this flag because they're running out of time. Down to 5 seconds, Cykul will soar forward, but will not get close enough. 4 dead, Sentinels take game number 1.
So there was a last-ditch attempt from Rebellion as they finally get that flag across the map, but it was just one of those where Sentinels, they almost let them. They were sitting back, 45 seconds left, let's just allow that flag to go, make sure they send enough players back to support that flag. We regain map control and we just have to make one last stand. We're not going to allow them to push through easily. And it is a very comfortable 2-1. Looks closer than it was because the Slays 74 to 58 in favor of Sentinels. And I tell you what, Falcated and bubu, 24 kills and 23 kills for both of those players. And those are numbers you want when you come into a tournament. When you're in your first game, you want to see your big game players hitting those shots and making sure they're on fire right from the get-go.
And what I want to talk about is the game management from Sentinels in that they got that first flag cap. They didn't push forward, didn't just throw bodies forward. They waited, they were structured, and they sent numbers forward at the right time. We've seen their very first flag cap, both teams had 10 kills apiece, but it was them who took the lead.
I think have Sentinels done their research on Rebellion and the way they play Empyrean? Yes, because they know the tendencies from Rebellion. They know the mistakes they were making. There was a couple of times where Rebellion would try to push over bridge and they were getting cross-shot. As soon as they got that 1 kill, Sentinels knew they had that map control. They took sword, you give Spartan sniper rifle, and then off the rip, you're just gonna see players on spawn getting body shot and either forced back into their spawn, or it's a headshot to just give your team the extreme advantage. A very impressive opening for Sentinels here.
And speaking of the opening, it was actually Rebellion who got all the weapons and the overshield.
It was.
They weren't able to put anything together. They stood still. We've seen sitting top banana, putting lots of damage down, but not really pushing forward, not pressing their advantages.
Well, Slayer Aquarius is going to be game number 2. Now, Rebellion are 4-1 up against Sentinels when it comes to Slayers in general from the qualifiers. So Sentinels have struggled a little bit on those Slayer modes when it comes to the qualifiers, but again, it's online, so we can only take it with a pinch of salt. You know, it's not going to be the be-all and end-all. However, it has to happen here for Rebellion, we feel, especially going into Stronghold's live fire for map number 3.
And what is it about Aquarius that you see Sentinels struggling on? What is it they're not doing right? Maybe they're playing it a little bit too slow. And what is it that Rebellion have been doing right?
I think it's just, in general, Sentinels are a very structured team. And as soon as a team disrupts that a little bit, whether it's kind of getting behind, dodgy spawns or whatever, Sentinels struggle a little bit, maybe a little bit of panic here or there. Whereas Rebellion are a team who like to play on the fly. They like to adapt. They like just to run around in a unit. And that could happen here if Sentinels aren't careful.
And we spoke about firepower on the side of Rebellion. We didn't really see it in game 1, but game 2, we're looking at Suppressed. He finished 11 and 21 or so in that last game, and he needs to pick it up if they're going to stand a chance here.
I think Slayer Aquarius is a good map to try and make up for it, though, because it's very fast-paced. You can just kind of roam around a little bit if you would like. So I wouldn't be too concerned, because we know that Empyrean can be a very tough map if you're on the receiving end of it.
Having a look at the up-and-coming stars then, and their overall KD 1.07 versus a 1.05. So both positive and both looking pretty good with their KDAs as well. These two players are pivotal in anything that Rebellion do good.
I think both Cykul and LethuL are fantastic players, and the more experience they get, the more we see them on the main stage, the more likely they are going to be improving, and the more likely we're going to be see them getting to the later stages of tournaments as well. Even though they're 1-0 down in this series, this could very easily be a full 5-game series for me with how things are going, but it all has to start here. If they go 2-0 down, then okay, maybe I'll start to chalk it up, but Rebellion have a real chance here.
Well, you spoke about how Game 1 was a worry and a concern for you, and maybe they thought the same thing themselves, that, listen, Game 1's going to be a struggle, we'll try and do what we can, but our series might just start in Game number 2.
Well, Aquarius for Sentinels, a lot of it is going to be down to the starting strategy. When we were watching VODs for both of these teams, we had seen that Rebellion typically get the better starting map. They did it on Imperium. They were able to get the power-ups. They were able to get the power weapons. Can they get the overshield here? This is the big fight. Suppressed can't put it into his chest, and Falcated goes down. Is anyone going to be able to pop it?
SoulSnipe has it in his chest. What can the Soul Man do then? As he heads towards top car. All three members of Sentinels at the moment spawning up towards the generator area, and LethuL back base trying to create some space. The overshield will go in, but he's faced by two guns. Really needs some help and some support, but eventually it comes through the shape and form of Mental. Falcated down to no shields. This is the perfect opening from Rebellion.
But yet again, it's Rebellion with the better starting strategy. We've noticed tendencies as the Sentinels kind of lean a 3-1 split on a lot of their maps. Spartan goes just to check out one side, while the other three work together for either a power weapon or a power-up. Whereas Rebellion, they like to send all 4 players at times just to ensure they get that power-up. They've gained the overshield, they've gained the opening here, and they find themselves up by 4, make it 3. It's not a massive lead, but at least it's something here for Rebellion.
Rebellion with the noses in front. Lead restored to 3. Numbers advantage on the map. 2 members positioned over towards the car side. SoulSnipe will get a little bit of damage received from a team grenade, and LethuL there to help put him in the grave. Cykul now, last man standing, and this is the time where we may see momentum start to shift as Rebellion a little bit isolated in the closet, and LethuL looking to change the angle, to change trajectory here. Mental 1v1 with LethuL. LethuL expertly backs away and isolated that 1v1, didn't expose himself to that second player, and help on hand, 2 go down. It's textbook from Sentinels.
Yeah, this is where Sentinels could really start to take control of the game. The structure that I was talking about with the next overshield now coming up. If they can grab this one, if they can have this map control, and Rebellion get stuck on some spawn cycles, but it's Mental who gets the next overshield, and this could be the downfall for Sentinels. If they're not able to get these consistent overshields, it will allow Rebellion to keep this game scrappy. It will allow them to keep being aggressive and trying to just get some flanks on the go, and it will disrupt the Sentinels' attempt to try and be a structured side.
Cykul and Suppressed combine to pick up a couple of kills. Mental almost got ninja there. A Spartan sword over the top of him and spared his blushes as his teammate was there as well.
That was pure trust. That was like a trustful. It was like, I know someone's here, but I'm just running and I trust that you'll be able to get them for me.
You think the call it was, there's somebody jumping over me right now as I keep soaring forward, but double kill for Mental, locked in. Bubu in the fridge has got 3 members of Rebellion soaring at him, and his life was cut short. Now you can see Rebellion really have Sentinels on the run.
I think another reason why Rebellion seem to be a better Slayer side than Sentinels is just look at the players. I think Rebellion have more deep-grown Slayer players who had to kind of make a name for themselves by getting those kills, by getting on the board, by being added to a team as someone who can be a high-kill player. Whereas Sentinels, you know, you've got a player like bubu, like LethuL, who have been such incredible objective players at times. I think Rebellion are just teetered slightly towards a Slayer-focused team, but that could be their downfall throughout the tournament because, of course, you are going to be playing 3 objectives in a best-of-5.
Spartan down to no shields. LethuL receives a little bit of damage on his path towards P1. It will be LethuL who was dispatched. The Rebellion's lead continues to grow. But you can see they're really playing in tandem. They've set up almost like a buddy system.
I also don't think Rebellion are scared to be running in as a solo. They are confidently moving around the map, happy to challenge a 1v1 if they see it, and that is probably frustrating Sentinels a little bit here. 34-21, Rebellion well and truly in charge of this game. They just have to make sure they don't allow Sentinels to get an overshield to get back into the game. It's going to be yet another one. I mean, I'm starting to think we're looking at 1-1 already with how things are starting to play out, because now Rebellion can once again get behind enemy lines, and this time it's Cykul with the overshield to just traverse the map in any way he wants.
Bubu almost turned on Cykul, but experiences blushes. Does lock in that kill. It's all about overshield control, and Rebellion have really had it.
And without it, Sentinels just haven't been able to get the height that they need in the map. A few times they've been able to get to kind of top P and top car, but there's always been a Rebellion player there waiting, banking a nade off something so they can initiate that damage, and then the other teammates will come through to clean things up. Even though it was somewhat close to begin with, it's really starting to run away with it now. And sure, the heatwave did some damage there, and Mental should be there to clean it up. Again, good communication from Rebellion.
It's really looking like a matter of when, not if, Rebellion tie up this series. Two members of Sentinels positioned over towards the fridge. Spartan all alone towards yellow closet. You can see they're looking for poke damage, something that they can push off. Instead, they receive a little bit of grenade damage and have to back away.
I also don't mind this from Rebellion, even though they have a massive advantage. They are not getting carried away with it. They are being patient. They are saying, well, let's not just give Sentinels kills while they have a little bit of map control right now. Look at the time. Overshield up in 15 seconds. Let's actually launch an attack closer to when that's going to come up, because if we win the team fight, we also win the overshield, and most likely because of it, we'll win the game.
5 more to close this one out and tie up the series. Make game 1 a distant memory. Almost erase it from the record books, and yet another overshield goes the way of Rebellion. It was a good start for Sentinels, and that's all it was. As Rebellion set their sights on tying up the series, they really didn't look back after that second overshield grab.
I'm glad we pointed out that it was such an important matchup for Rebellion and such an important slayer for Rebellion, and not only have they been able to actually pull off a victory here, but it's going to be a dominant one, which will just put that confidence back on their side. They're not going to be too worried as we do get confirmation. Shopify take game number 2, and we're all tied up 1-1, and we do, in fact, have a series on our hands. Sometimes, you know, on a Friday, you can get some clean sweeps, but we knew Sentinels and Rebellion, they faced each other so much throughout the qualifiers, back and forth as they go, and it's going to be the same here on LAN.
You mentioned a very important word there, confidence, and it must be flowing through the veins of Cykul and SoulSnipe. 15-6-8, 14-7-1. You look at Suppressed, who also bounced back after that pretty difficult game 1. And Mental was thereabouts, popping up with a few assists as well, 11 to be exact. So that's the perfect response to game number 1.
But there was nothing, no sort of structure available for Sentinels. It was what I was worried about coming into this game 2. It's not like they can't be structured when it comes to Slayer Aquarius, but they were never given the opportunity to. They didn't get an overshield, for goodness sake. If you're not going to get the overshield, then that is just going to constantly give the advantage to the other team. But it was the way that Rebellion moved around the map. They always had eyes on someone else. There was always that kind of support work once the initial damage had been done. They weren't scared to die as long as they did enough damage and they knew a teammate would clean it up.
I mean, Rebellion are really just agents of chaos, right? We've seen that in Slayer on Aquarius. They don't give Sentinels a moment to breathe. They're spawning them by themselves, they're trapping players, they're isolating them, and they're really, that was their playground in game number 2.
It was their playground, and now they need to use that advantage they just found themselves in, the confidence in those individual engagements, and say, how do we put this into an objective game now? Can we play that same way whilst we're also moving around and getting the objective work done? It is a stronghold, so that does lean towards more of a slaying playstyle. However, Sentinels haven't lost a strongholds against Rebellion so far in the qualifiers. It is one of Sentinel's better modes, and Rebellion need to be aware of that. But sometimes when you get qualifiers, and you know, some teams will see them as kind of scrims, as practice at times. If you have a bad game in mode, you are going to be practicing it a little bit more, and Rebellion would have been able to go over that VOD, watch why Sentinels are good, and perhaps they can counter it. Well,
we're going to 4 at the very least. Strongholds Live Fire up next. The oddball recharge will be our game number 4. You tipped about at the start of the series about how important Slayer Solitude was going to be if Rebellion can get there, and we already seen almost staking Sentinels in that game too. But Strongholds Live Fire, they have some important players do Sentinels in this game type.
Sentinels just need to be off the rip trying to take down Rebellion and get that opening strategy on board, because we've already seen Rebellion have kind of led the way when it comes to opening strats, and if you go too far behind in a Strongholds game, you do start to struggle a little bit. Sure, Livefire a little bit more open than some of the other Stronghold games, so you can get back into it. It's not going to be like a Solitude game where if you lose the opening strat, you may have lost the entire game. But I think Sentinels know that they have to have a strong start here. Just try and shut down this momentum a little bit from Rebellion.
Well, you spoke about how Rebellion like to send all 4 members a certain direction, and how Spartan is generally a player who likes to scout and then touch tight with his teammates. Maybe he gets the top middle, but is it important now, they've already lost the opening starts off on game 1 and 2, that maybe they alter the strategy a little bit? Yeah,
it's going to depend on which side they spawn on Livefire, of where they're going to head it. We've seen 2 different strategies. I can go into that a little bit later, but head-to-head between Falcated and Cykul, I mean, Falcated is an unbelievable player. I think he is one of the most underrated players we have in the league. We will bring him up time and time again, but he just seems to go under the radar a bit whilst he's doing disgusting things. But Cykul's the new blood. He's the new boy. He's the guy who really could be making a difference for Rebellion at this tournament.
We've seen in game 1 how important Falcated was. Of course, when you get heavily beaten in game 2, it's very hard for you to have that same sort of influence on the map. And Cykul looking to push his team forward here in game 3. What is it you're looking for from Rebellion here to maybe succeed what they hadn't done in the past in the qualifiers?
Again, it's disrupt the structure of Sentinels. It's not allow Sentinels to set up and start spawn killing you and control how you're moving around the map. Instead, you kind of make them second guess themselves a bit. If traditionally, let's say you had A and B and they know you're going to be kind of heading towards C because of that, go the other one. Let's send one other player. Do it as a distraction. Go for a little bait and switch. Try and do something a little bit different to try and disrupt Sentinels here, because Sentinels, for me, have always been a team that want to play kind of traditional Halo. If I'm Rebellion, I'm like, screw that. Throw away the traditions. Let's try and play a little bit different here so that we can surprise them.
We've seen in the past with teams like Quadrant and FaZe towards the latter stages of the year how they like to play Stronghold sort of on the move, get A and B, keep rotating, let them spawn A, we'll take C, so on and so forth, until you eventually get a triple cap and lock it in tight. Is that something that we're expecting to see from Sentinels, or are they more likely to hold 2 and keep those 2 for themselves?
I think Sentinels would like to try and hold 2. I think if they're given the opportunity where they are outslaying Rebellion significantly, that's when they start to move and groove and they can force that rotation that you're speaking of. However, if it's slightly closer in the slaying department, maybe we'll see Sentinels just holding on a little bit stronger, any advantage if they have the 2 strongholds. But that's if they are in control. There is a real chance the Rebellion could be the team that is constantly on the move, always making Sentinels second guess themselves, and they might be able to get some good stronghold points because of it.
Rebellion, this team was assembled to not only compete in these series, but to beat the likes of Sentinels, to put their names in the championships conversations. Suppress got the opening pick. SoulSnipe and Cykul fall. B for Rebellion. C and A for Sentinels. 2 members converge on Falcated to shut him down.
Well, I was going to say, I think maybe Sentinels would have been happy that they got the A spawn, because they do tend to go camo side, try and take C, so they have 2 strongholds right at the get-go, and they ignore B, then control that side of the map, get the sniper, and then they get camo. But the way Rebellion countered it with the bottom middle push, it meant Sentinels were kind of caught off guard a little bit, and now it's Rebellion instead who have that control that Sentinels were so desperately searching for.
Suppress linking up with his camo player in Cykul. Lost SoulSnipe though. Camo is going to fall and not even get a trade. That's a blunder. That's one he would really like to have back. A and B in control of Sentinels now. Sniper trying to lock onto that player's scoreboard. It's a swing and a miss. Sniper rifle will change hands.
So Sentinels in control now. They have B and C. They know the team's at A, but they are surrounding them at the moment. It's a good kill from SoulSnipe just to ensure that this isn't going to get out of control, and Mental also follows one. So Sentinels, they tried to press, they tried to squeeze, but now they're going to allow Rebellion just to trickle through their fingers a little bit. This is what I was maybe a little bit worried about. Are Rebellion just going to be sneaky enough to get out of some of these traps that Sentinels try and set?
A and B for Rebellion. There was a numbers advantage on the map for a moment, but that's been cut away. Suppressed, eyes trained over across sandbags. Looking to provide cover for SoulSnipe now. LethuL's going to be the first point of contact then. LethuL wisely backs away, recognizing he's in a fight that's pretty unwinnable. That distraction was enough from LethuL as two members from Sentinels get towards B, close the distance, and convert. They've lost a stronghold along the way, and this is what Rebellion are good at. Pushing you towards one and taking another. Cykul on pillars, expertly jiggle peeking, but Falcated's not interested in that song and dance. Locks in a kill.
So annoying when players do that on pillars as well, and you know full well you can do nothing about it except just call out and hope there's a teammate to follow up. If you don't have a grenade, especially as Falcated getting that initial damage with the beatdown and using the QT just to escape. QT control, very important here on Livefire as well. You need to have someone who is confident enough to get aggressive, do damage, but then also reactive enough to instantly get out when you know that you are threatened by the damage the opposition's dealing.
Looks as though that kill from Falcated was on the camouflage player, so that's going to be burned. But it's another one that Rebellion have managed to pick up, but two that they haven't had a major influence on proceedings. One player trying to convert B, but he's all alone. Falcated's going to step in and make it a difficult task. Not only that, but get the reset. It was a momentary triple cap, but Rebellion now looking for C.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a decoy, I think, from Rebellion to ensure they were able to get out of any nonsense. They send one player towards B to force players to actually have to fight it, but then they captured A and C on the other side. This is what I was talking about, disruption. Disrupt the norm. Don't allow the traditional setups to happen, but Sentinels, they react very well. They focus and they target. They all push the same thing to regain said control.
Falcated absolutely frying right now. 10, 2, and 3. Cykul will fall, as will SoulSnipe. Sentinels remain in the ascendancy for now. Bubu Dubu sitting inside B with Snipe. Has information as a player positioned towards big door. He's going to back away and wait for teammates. He does really not want to be the first point of contact as he retreats towards Nest now. Suppressed with a little bit of poke. Gets information but decides to back away, and 2 kills have gone the way of Rebellion. They have a slight numbers advantage. It looks as though they're trying to rotate towards C.
Yeah, notice how Bubu Dubu saw the kill feed, saw that players were kind of going down, and it allowed him to grab that QT. He was worried initially that pushing it might leave him vulnerable, but it didn't matter in the end. Rebellion were quick out of big door after they got their initial damage, and now they can try and get some control of their own. But great trades coming out from Sentinels at the moment. They're not allowing Rebellion to get any sort of control.
Sentinels playing this one by the book. Absolutely perfectly so far.
I mean, there's a reason why they are 6-1 in qualifiers on this particular map and mode. They do not struggle on it. They've been able to beat Rebellion every single time they face them on strongholds, and you can see that the structure that they play with is really working at the moment. Even the attempt at disrupting it from Rebellion, it's only minor time that they're gaining off the back of it. Yes, they'll get B and C for 5 to 10 seconds, but then Sentinels instantly all send themselves towards one of the strongholds and then regain it yet again.
What's almost been most impressive, there doesn't seem to be any sort of hesitation. They all know exactly what the game plan is, and they're executing it perfectly here. Rebellion will finally get some control, B and C, but again, Sentinels will step in with the camouflage now. Spartan hoping to have a bigger influence than some of his predecessors who picked it up, and LethuL will fall. Falcated though. On C then, Bubu situated there as well.
You can see the difference between Aquarius and Livefire. Aquarius, which can be a little bit more hectic, where we were unable to see Sentinels get any power-ups, but suddenly when they're on a map where they can control it a little bit more, it's camo after camo, and then it just helps them with their continuing factor of controlling the game. So Rebellion, they can even lean towards the camo at times because they are constantly trying to get the strongholds. If they give up camo, or if they give up the strongholds to try and get camo, then they're going to suddenly get 3 capped. So it's tough now for Rebellion. They are so far behind, and Sentinels are firmly dominating this match.
Real rock and a hard play situation for Rebellion. Not contesting the camouflage really just hands a win condition over to Sentinels. But when you contest it, you're already down on the score, you're already down in caps. That's what we're seeing here. Bubu position sandbags. Beautiful Hail Mary will connect over towards B. SoulSnipe will try and convert B. He's alone for the moment. Mental with the snipe will pop the shields of 1 as he continues to drop the shoulder and jiggle and weave his way. He is cut down though. The Sentinels have passed over the 200 point threshold. Rebellion will get some semblance of control though.
The exciting thing with Strongholds is it's never over. How many times have we seen comebacks? And if you can get a trip cap here and force Sentinels back on spawn, disrupt them a little bit so they kind of don't know where their left and rights are, then you can get back into this one. You're 100 points down, you're in control at the moment, but camouflage has to be a focus point. Not only do you need to control these, but you need to have someone who is thinking about getting that camo in 15 seconds. Because if you give it to Sentinels, they will once again find themselves forcing their way into either A or C.
Rebellion have B. That does give them opportunity to go to A or C. They're on the doorstep. As you can see, the pressure is telling. Rebellion really have to try and throw bodies towards B now. It's getting a little bit desperate.
I do like that you use the word pressure, because that's exactly what Sentinels have been doing all game. It's pressuring Rebellion off spawn. It's pressuring them when they try and make a move. If Rebellion all moved through bottom middle, Sentinels had a response. They had players that were having eyes on them. They would do that initial damage. They would back off, and then they would switch and allow someone else to finish off for them. And again, look at the kind of swarm of Sentinels players. They hear the call out, the Rebellion at a C. They try and challenge it immediately. Yes, okay, C is going to go into control of Rebellion on this occasion, but for the most part, Sentinels have made it work this game.
Rebellion threatening to get a triple cap. Two members of Sentinels will go over to contest back tower. Bubu was there to do enough damage to get a kill, but deciding to give up C, recognizing that perhaps Rebellion will come over to cut him down. Instead looks to contest B. LethuL's back green will be able to capitalize on the damage already done. More damage put down, but not aware there's a player positioned over towards Nest, but kills will go 2-2 split. And no doubt SoulSnipe will look to contest this. As LethuL continues to try and capture it, tries to pick up the damage that was already done, but Mental was there to shut it down. Wise to it. And now Rebellion is starting to grow in confidence. He's got the QT, does Mental, and he gets himself out of dodge.
Yeah, this is where it's starting to get interesting. This is the kind of disruption that Rebellion needed, and they were down by like, what, 10 kills, but now it's 54 to 53 in favor of Sentinels. So Rebellion right back into it when it comes to slays, and they have had a great period of time where every single time Sentinels have tried to focus on a stronghold, Rebellion have been there. Rebellion have had that one player to be a nuisance, and now they can take control. Now Rebellion can start to dictate the pace here, and Sentinels need to have the answer.
Sentinels have to open the playbook. What have they got? Because it's now them on the back foot. Rebellion starting to have it all their own way. C starting to be converted. Mental's looking to get close to get the trade. LethuL will shut that one down, but SoulSnipe is there to continue to apply that pressure onto A, and another trade goes in, and Rebellion continue to hold A.
And I said it's not over until it's over. A 100-point lead is about to be closed by Rebellion, and now this is where Sentinels, will they begin to crack a little bit? Will they begin to shake and wobble, and Rebellion can just kind of push them over with a little finger? C will be taken. Sentinels regain some control. A massive kill from Spartan, because if Spartan lets rip, if he's the one who's shouting, it's going to regain that confidence for the rest of the team, as now they are putting points on the board yet again, and QT back in the hands of Sentinels.
The escape route was going to lead him to back green, but kills are going in Rebellion's favor. Spartan has got to play this one as clever as he possibly can. Cykul hits a massive body shot. That's going to put him in retreat mode here. A and C for Rebellion. And our Sentinels starting to wilt.
Starting to wilt a little bit, but couple of key kills, just making sure the Rebellion don't gain too much control. But Cykul from behind, if you can catch that flank, if you can stop that one player who's trying to get behind and try and grab a strongholds off you, it does wonders for your team, because then this happens. You have the player advantage, you get that extra bandit in your hands, and you get that extra damage. And now Rebellion take the lead here, and Sentinels, they need a reply, and they need it fast.
Rebellion hold. How good will the hold be? Do Sentinels have the answer? The opening pick goes the way of Rebellion. Cykul gets another one onto Spartan top middle. And Sentinels have one more push. Time dwindling down. Sentinels nowhere to be seen right now as they try and contest B. Rebellion win game 3.
What a comeback we just saw from Rebellion. They were down, they were out. It was like 200 to 80. But this is why we love Strongholds, because it is never over. All it takes is one shift of momentum. Rebellion, they gained control, and Sentinels, they just couldn't wrestle it back. And now Rebellion go against the grain. They go against the favored game types here. They weren't able to take Sentinels down in any strongholds, no matter what the map was during the qualifiers, and now they take the lead here. And I think that is going to be dejecting for Sentinels because they were so far ahead, Jersey.
That's the word you use, dejected. Deflation on the side of Sentinels. We've seen a little player cam on bubu dubu, and he did not look impressed. They know they've let that one slip through their fingers.
I mean, Shopify Rebellion were down in slays by about 10 when we saw Sentinels in control, up by about 100. Rebellion ended that up by 14 kills. They had an unbelievable comeback and a crazy amount of kills in that passage of play. They gave up all those camos to begin with. They weren't able to get them. Sentinels cruising. That's when you start to put your feet up a little bit, thinking this one's done, this one's dusted. But this is what Rebellion do. They disrupt, they get behind enemy lines, and as soon as they penetrated, as soon as they got that final break they needed, they took control and they pinned Sentinels to the ground. And now they find themselves 2-1 up in the series.
Confirmation of what we've seen then. Game 1, 2-1, 2 Sentinels, but it's been all Rebellion from there on out. And now we head to Oddball Recharge, and Dan, I know you've got some stats for me.
This is great for Rebellion. This was the one objective I was confident they would be able to take. They haven't lost it throughout the entirety of the qualifiers. 6-0 on Oddball Recharge. That is amazing news, and they also beat Sentinels on this during the qualifiers. This is one of their better maps and modes. As we know, though, that can change when we get to LAN, because we just saw the exact opposite, where Shopify Rebellion were able to beat Sentinels on one of their better game types here. But look at the smiles on the faces now of Rebellion because they know how close they are. They are just moments away, one map away from causing an upset here and taking down Sentinels.
Sentinels more than capable of flipping the script here. But you rightly speak about smiles on their faces, and no more than Best Man sitting behind them, coaching these boys, and they're on the cusp of beating a team that they set out to disrupt from the very start.
I mean, what a coach to have as well. Best Man, he's been there, he's done that, he's been on this stage, and I think if you've got someone with that kind of characteristic behind you, he can always hype you up, even if you find yourself 100 points down in a stronghold. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one saying, hey, what are we worried about? Nothing. This one's not over. All we need is one break, and suddenly this game is ours. And that was an incredible comeback from Rebellion that I'm sure we will have to rewatch time and time again, because not only is it all about Rebellion and how they broke into it and they regained control, but you have to look at the crumbling effect of Sentinels. As soon as they lost that structure, they couldn't put it back together. It's like they lost a few pieces of the puzzle. They were searching around the ground, can't find them, and you have to give it up.
Strongholds is very quickly being one of those game types where if you've just hit the 200-point threshold, it's almost a dangerous lead to have. You get a little bit comfortable, you think that you have the game won. Oh, we just need 50 more, this game's done and dusted. But you spoke about that one break. Rebellion got the break, and then the hold was equally impressive.
I mean, just to throw another statistic at you as well for Oddball Recharge, we haven't seen Sentinels beat Rebellion on any Oddball game type throughout the qualifiers. So Rebellion should be winning this one if you're going to go off the numbers, and certainly when you play these tournaments online, you do take it with a pinch of salt, but you still believe in yourself. You still will be saying to your teammates, hey, we've beaten them on this before, we know how to play, we know what they're going to do, so let's just do it again now we're at LAN.
They say online results mean nothing. It's untrue. They don't mean everything, but they definitely mean something.
I remember Rebellion have a really good starting strategy on Recharge as well. They sent 2 to kind of trippy box to challenge the players. They send nades over towards Whirlpool as well. But that's depending on what spawn they're going to get here. But they will get a chance to have both spawns because we're going to be playing Oddball. We saw in the qualifiers that it was Rebellion who had the better starting strategy, and here we go. Triple boxes where they send players, but it's a great response from Sentinels, almost recognizing it, sending several players to Whirlpool to shut down the control that Rebellion try and get.
They managed to get their hands on the ball as well. A lot of damage being done by Suppressed here.
Wow.
Enemy has the ball. Ball drop.
And now, Rebellion have a gold pipes setup.
Did Sentinels overcommit to Whirlpool to try and stop what we've seen from Rebellion previously? That's the real question, because Rebellion, all the meanwhile, while Sentinels heavily swayed that way, they're able to get camouflage, they're able to get ball control, and now SoulSnipe just waiting for his moment to pounce onto Spartan, and will get the kill, and should be able to help his teammate for 2.
Falcated throws in a couple of grenades, he's down to no shields.
Great nades.
Almost evaded that final grenade as well, was able to put down a little bit more damage onto the camo player, but ultimately SoulSnipe has played this one expertly. Ball is completely rotated out of gold pipes and now over towards blue. Rebellion looking dangerous here.
It's almost like they are just kind of living and breathing from that previous game. You know, adrenaline's going to be in their veins for sure. Wasn't a break opportunity for Sentinels. They didn't go for a little bathroom break to try and disrupt anything either. As our SoulSnipe just going to be holding back a little bit. Watching over this ball, it's an early lead for Rebellion, but Sentinels have been able to climb it a little bit. They've slowed it all down. Now, if Sentinels can get ahead, if they can start to pick apart Rebellion, you need to start to reassert some dominance here. Win a couple of individual engagements, try and destroy that momentum that Rebellion have been able to gain.
LethuL's got shock. He's got information that there's at least one long haul as he sees Mental's toes. Fires one shock rifle shot, second one will connect with the body. LethuL just not able to apply the finishing touches onto that kill, and unfortunately this setup is going to be completely broken wide open. And they have not played the ball, have Sentinels.
And this really is going to be an opener now for Rebellion. Not only because they have ball control, it's camouflage too, and Suppress just needs to be listening to his teammates. Camo being on any map is always such a very important moment for you as a player because you have to be productive with it, but it doesn't mean you have to be too aggressive. You can wait, you can use your invisibility to your advantage, and he's done just that. He was patient, he made sure that the Sentinels push didn't really account to anything apart from a play ball. And look at that Shroud as well, just to protect any spawners over towards A are not going to be able to see that ball guy trying to get away.
That's back-to-back camouflages for Rebellion. They hold the lead. They hold the ball. Two members of Sentinels positioned over towards tower. Suppress recognizes the information that's come his way. He's going to try and get away, but Spartan cuts him off the pass and gets that kill. Ball immediately thrown down as Rebellion realize it's going to be a slay-off. Two fall apiece. Ball still situated towards long haul. Bubu dubu down to no shields as he tried to clamber towards grapple. The ball back in the hands of the Soulman.
You're in a pretty good position if you can shut down bubu dubu throughout this game. He is the ball guy for Sentinels, like 4 times the amount of ball time than the rest of the team throughout qualifiers. If you can consistently kill him first, then you know full well that you're going to be in a pretty good spot and not allowing bubu to get anywhere near that ball. And 3 are dead now for Sentinels, and bubu is that last remaining player, and he's going to desperately try and stay alive. Unable to do so, but does go out at least with a trade. But it's a 59-21 lead at the moment for Rebellion, and they seem firmly in control.
A significant lead.
Enemy has the ball.
Ball over towards pipes. Sentinels will get hands on. Bubu looking to provide cover fire for his ball carrier. LethuL dropped down towards batteries, and that was ill-advised as it was straight into the welcoming gun of Cykul, and yet another camouflage goes the way of Rebellion.
And you can see why Rebellion are unbeaten on this map and mode throughout the qualifiers, because their camo control, again, similarly to what we saw in Slayer Aquarius with their overshield control, it is persistent, it is consistent, and Sentinels haven't really been able to have anyone to challenge it, because again, Rebellion have been the team that are ahead in the objective. On the Slayer, they were ahead on the Slay, so then they could work with it. Now they're ahead with the ball time, so Sentinels don't even have a chance to go to that camo because they have to be thinking about the ball.
Beautiful trigger discipline from Cykul. He chases one player down, but might have chased him to his death. LethuL was there to provide cover for his teammate. Ball will get played. Suppressed, taking no risks here as they have a significant lead.
Oh, and look at this, he's just delaying now, frustrating, almost gets the kill onto Spartan, but that keeps 2 players at blue whilst that ball is spawning, allowing your spawners, allowing your teammates to regain control over towards batteries, and then you stop any sort of ball time. So those few seconds, they can be crucial.
SoulSnipe's in pipes. Spartan's on double stack, done some damage, but unfortunately for him, teammates were not there to capitalize on it. He loses his life. Bubu trying to get the trade from here. It's an awkward fight inside the Shroud. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. And it was Bubu towards long haul, down to no shields. He has some scars and scrapes, but he will survive. As they now make a push towards pipes, hoping Rebellion have no nades for this. They don't even need them. They have enough damage with the shock rifle, and that chain damage was significant, and it was punishing.
And With your Sentinels here, you really want to get the shock in the hands of Spartan and allow him to start kind of leading the way with the initial damage so the rest of the team can go off the back of it. More ball time, suppressed, maybe gets up. I don't hate it, I don't hate the risk, but now the rest of the team, they need to go off the back of that risk. They need to get a little bit defensive. Don't allow Sentinels to gain control of pipes here, otherwise they get the setup, and that's good from Cykul. Rebellion, they're just playing this so well. They're always in a 2. They always have someone to support them right now.
What do Sentinels have? I know what they don't have. That's time. 4 seconds to be exact, and they're not going to get close enough as Cykul will lock in round number 1.
1 round away then from taking down Sentinels in pool play. And you heard it on the desk. We knew that this pool was going to be close. We knew there was going to be some good games, and Rebellion looking to try and upset the higher seed of Sentinels very early on here, Friday in Texas. But it's not done yet. Similarly to Strongholds, you always got a chance to get back into a game with Oddball with the round resetting as the fight for camo goes down once more. And it does seem like Sentinels are far more comfortable when they spawn on the opposition side. They really struggled when they spawned over towards A, but the C spawns just allows them to play a little bit more different.
Falcated was baiting the camouflage, caught between 2 minds of going and securing it for his team, or just waiting and watching, and he done the latter. Didn't get enough damage onto SoulSnipe, and another camouflage goes the way of Rebellion. Ball tossed out. SoulSnipe says no, 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 and tosses it right back in the window.
Ball.
Rebellion have got control of pipe. Spartan's being cleared out. And that means some semblance of control for Rebellion.
And it was a very small thing from SoulSnipe. Had he not grabbed that ball, he would have got that kill, but he knows full well he had teammates coming into it and said, actually, we can get a little bit of time here if I catch this, and maybe I get the kill alongside my teammate. So again, it's a risky play, but I think it is a smart one. It didn't really pay off in the end, but I love that he attempted it.
Well, we speak about the margins, right? If he gets that kill, but the ball falls down towards batteries, he has to jump back down and then rotate the ball back up. Instead, happy to sacrifice his life to try and get some ball time. Speaking of, LethuL's got hands on and is starting to take a little bit of a significant lead here. Just about closing the 40-point threshold.
Somewhat of a slow game for Spartan in the moment, 6 in 15. He can start to get back into it and find himself on top in some individual fights, then there is still a good chance for Sentinels in this series. But they are up 43-3 in this round, so a really strong start. Notice they gave up the camo at the start of the game so that they could get that strong start with the ball and then force Rebellion to try and break a setup. And I would say that's one thing Sentinels are better at than Rebellion, is the setups in general and the breaking offset setup. So Rebellion just need to make sure they don't allow Sentinels to get in that position too often. There's another camo.
Another camo. And another one for Rebellion. This has got to be frustrating for not only Sentinels, but Sentinels fans watching this. Wondering where it's all going wrong when it comes to the power-ups. Prioritizing instead to get ball time. They have 60 seconds now. And it's important to note they're winning this round. And with Spartan having a game like 8 and 16, we know how likely he is to catch fire at any given time. If you're already winning the round, it's good things coming if Spartan can catch that fire.
You feel like Rebellion kind of have to get it done here with the 2-0, otherwise you allow Sentinels to regain that momentum and that confidence. But without the camouflage, Rebellion might struggle to break these setups, so it is imperative they keep getting them. So perhaps Sentinels need to start thinking about at least sending one player to maybe contest it, but then you naturally leave open your defense. So it is a difficult thing to try and juggle here on recharge, especially when you have that ball control. Cykul not able to get that kill in the end. Both players just knowing on being on no shields there, you have to back off and hope a teammate can really help you out.
Spartan over towards Heaven will get fired from Cykul. LethuL was there though. 3 kills go in favor, making all 4 dead for Rebellion for a moment. And this is much better from the Sentinels.
LethuL listening so well. It's incredible, really. Every single time you see a player that is one shot, LethuL pops out of nowhere just to put a bullet in the head. Communication from Sentinels letting him know, again, there's one more. Ears to the ground and making sure that none of these no-shield players are able to get away. It is cleanup crew at the moment for LethuL.
What was it LethuL was doing in the office? Was he playing Halo or was he doing janitor work? He's on an absolute cleanup situation at the moment. He did request that we have some plants and a water fountain on the main stage, but unfortunately that was out of budget. And now we're all tied up as Sentinels show signs of life. 1-1 here. And round 3 will be the decider.
And again, I'm going to say it, Rebellion They have to get it done here in Oddball. Solitude is not where you want to go for a Game 5 against Sentinels, and I guess I'll go into that later if we do get there, but right now Rebellion just have to focus on the task at hand. They do have the better spawn that they had from previous, but it's a different starting strategy from Sentinels this time. But again, it's Rebellion who get the better of them, all 4 down for Sen. And Rebellion's Seaside spawn start is so powerful. They have gained all the tools they could have wanted. Now suppressed.
He has the ball.
He has the shock to work with, but just needs to escape here, and he's able to do so thanks to the camouflage.
Suppressed is a very important player on the map right now.
Ball dropped.
With that camo and shock.
He has the ball.
He can really cut away the numbers that Sentinels have when they push forward. LethuL's got a pick on the Cykul. Bubu's going to soar forward, 2 shock rifle shots. Will not find the face. Now his position's been given up. Ball's being played, 30 seconds of time, and that's valuable.
What a difference maker that could have been, though, if you'd hit that initial shock rifle shot. Suddenly you've been full shields, and oh, that's going to be a nice double from SoulSnipe. Just waiting for the player to come round. Easy shot onto the plasmas. And Rebellion again, just able to pick up that ball off the spot, and no player from Sentinels to stop them initially. Bubu is going to be in gold, but he's quickly shut down. Sentinels just need to wrestle back this control quickly. Don't allow Rebellion to get too much of a lead here, because then Rebellion can start to do what they did in the first round and start collapsing on you wherever you're spawning.
Falcated was good for 1. Lost Spartan in the process, though.
Enemy has the ball.
Now it's Sentinel's opportunity to get hands on ball. Bubu will take some initial damage as he tries to rotate it towards long haul, but Suppressed dives forward and happy to take the trade. Just to eat away at the clock and force Sentinels to make some plays. Plays have been made. Spartan has hands on the ball, happy to milk it for as long as he possibly can before the Rebellion numbers get close.
I think this is what Sentinels need. They need everyone to be playing the part of the ball here. One thing you don't want to get sucked into is Bubu thinking he's the ball guy as all 4 members of Sentinels go down, and then trying to grab that ball just in desperate attempt to try and get some time on the board, and then allowing Rebellion to get the player advantage off the back of the kill. But now with all 4 dead, Rebellion do have the player advantage as Suppressed gets the double. It's a perfect, and he has the camouflage, and Rebellion now halfway there.
It's been the story of this series.
Enemy halfway to
power-ups, power weapons, but more importantly, it's been the power-ups. Camouflages and overshields have more often than not fallen to Rebellion. And that's not by accident, that's something that they've worked on. SoulSnipe hits some beautiful shots to shut down LethuL in the blue pipes. As the shroud screen pops up, Cykul's taking no risks with this ball. He's opting to play it instead. 62-11. And it's a long road back for Sentinels here.
But it's a play ball, and look where Rebellion are. Oh, they're back over towards batteries, because once more there is SoulSnipe just to buy time for his teammates so that they can control that side of the map. Okay, Mental has fallen, so it is going to be a tougher fight here, but Cykul is in a spot to maybe clean things up. But Bubu catches him off guard, but if he goes down, which he does, it just opens up even more control again for Rebellion.
Confidence these players have in the 1v1 situation. Even when they're down to no shields, they back themselves to hit the final shots that are required. And they've been massive.
Ball dropped.
Ball was picked up, but Suppressed loses his life. Mental's got hands on. 3 members of Sentinels positioned over towards A, making all 4 members now. And 70 seconds and climbing here for Rebellion. They're almost home.
Yeah, this is kind of last-ditch saloon for Sentinels with some of these pushes now. If they find themselves 3 or 4 dead, they might not get another opportunity at pushing for this ball. 2 have gone down. Cykul, though, will hold with Suppressed. Spartan tries to push it, should get cleaned up, and will do so. But at least they stop this ball time. But great nades again from Cykul. And he can now just run away. He can get this ball to the other side. He knows they're spawning over towards Elevator. There is a real chance that Rebellion could hold and win from this point.
Sentinels continue to push from the Whirlpool. Grenades doing so much damage. Cykul doing so much damage. 3 dead. LethuL, the last man on the map over towards batteries. Cykul has that information and continues to hold the ball. LethuL gets close and gets the trade.
That is a big trade from Cykul, though. He had no ammo, he had to reload, and that does give Sentinels a slight lifeline here now. But they can't afford to slip up. Camo is going to be up, but they can't go for it. They have to go for the ball here.
Gets close to the ball. Spartan gets to stop. He's got hands on, but what way has the camouflage gone? LethuL's down there, but he's died. 3 members of Sentinels have fallen. Bubu nowhere near the ball. Camouflage goes to the chest. Not that they even need it. As Rebellion continue to hold, requiring only now 4 seconds to close out this series, and they will win the series against Sentinels.
And what a series it was from Rebellion. When they looked like they were down and out in the Strongholds game, and they come back, and ever since, and they didn't look like they were going to ever drop that series. And you can see on the other side for Sentinels, they know that they've let that one slip. They were the favorites. They came into this as the 3rd seed, the highest seed in this group. For Rebellion, they shift things over. And I wonder what SoulSnipe's thinking about that one. You were talking about, you know, leaving his friends, his longtime teammates to form this Rebellion roster. Well, it seems like there may be some new blood here in the HCS, and a lot of our up-and-comers are certainly shining.
Rebellion put themselves in the conversation. They take down the 3rd seeded team in Sentinels, like you mentioned, Dan. And it's dejection on the stage. You can see it on Spartan's face. They were the favorites. But this wasn't an upset. This was something that could be expected. These two teams have locked horns before, and there's been very little between them.
I think in Rebellion's eyes, no, it wasn't an upset. They probably came into this saying, we can beat them, we have beat them, why can't we do it again? It's just an upset on paper. As overall, Rebellion outslaying Sentinels 104-95 in the end. 32 kills for both Cykul and Suppressed as they put on a show. But I think we know, I think they know, this series was won in that Strongholds live fire game. Had they not been able to win that one, even if they go into Ball and win as expected, we then go into a Slayer Solitude. And when I tell you Slayer Solitude is Sentinel's best game type by far, Rebellion will be happy they didn't have to go there. Get it done in 4, and it's a 3-1 victory in the end in what was a very impressive turnaround, because that could have been so different had Strongholds live fire not seen the same comeback we witnessed.
And we've seen on Empyrean, it looked as though we were seeing the right sort of Sentinels team. They did everything that they needed to do. It was textbook at times. They held the map and was like, all right, this is probably what we're going to expect all series long. But after that game 2, particularly even game 3, that Strongholds was so important.
So important, and I think they know full well that it's just one of those scenarios where if you do lose some of those games, you have to come back swinging. And Rebellion will be delighted with their performance.